The city of Orleans, 7 was a ruin. Smoke rose in dark clouds from broken factories. Rusted buildings leaned like tired giants, their metal frames groaning in the wind. The streets were littered with scraps of machines, broken vehicles and shattered signs. Few humans lived here now. Most had left for safer worlds, but some stayed, scavenging what they could to survive. Among them was Liam Calder. He was small, wiry and covered in grime, but his eyes burned with stubborn determination. Liam worked in the scrapyard, fixing machines no one else could. He repaired hoverbikes with bent frames, rewired old drones, and patched air purifiers that saved the lives of a few desperate humans. Every day he risked injury from falling debris, broken glass, and the toxic air that burned his lungs. Survival here was never easy, and yet Liam had a strange pride in doing it with his own hands. One evening, as the sun sank behind the jagged city skyline, Liam was finishing repairs on a half-broken hoverbike. Sparks flew from his tools, lighting the surrounding ruins and flickers of orange. He wiped sweat from his forehead and leaned back to admire his work. The hum of distant machines echoed across the empty streets. It was quiet, almost peaceful. Then a shadow fell across him. Liam froze. The shadow was massive. He looked up and saw a dragon. Its scales were rough and dusty with streaks of black and bronze. Its wings were torn and it moved slowly as if every step caused pain. The dragon's eyes, bright and intelligent, locked on him. Liam's heart pounded. Stories had always said dragons were fierce, wild and deadly. None had ever spoken to humans and certainly none had ever asked for help. The dragon lowered its head, tilting it slightly. A low, rough voice rumbled from its throat. Leftovers? Liam's mind raced. He looked down at the pile of scraps beside him, cold rations, metal parts and broken gadgets. He could throw some at the dragon and run. That would be safe. That would be smart. But something inside him refused. Fear told him to escape. Pride and courage told him to act. He stepped forward slowly, his hands open to show he meant no harm. I don't have much, he said. His voice was steady though his heart pounded. But maybe I can give you something better. The dragon tilted its head in surprise, watching him. Liam crouched and picked up a small device he had been working on, a repurposed energy core meant to power a drone. It was fragile, glowing faintly with stored energy. He held it out to the dragon. It can help your wings. Heal them. Give you strength. For a moment the dragon did nothing. Its eyes narrowed, studying him. Liam could feel the tension in the air, the fear and mistrust. The streets were silent except for the hum of distant machines. His palms were sweaty and he could feel every heartbeat in his chest. Then the dragon lowered its massive head closer. Carefully it sniffed the device. Sparks from Liam's hoverbike reflected in its golden eyes. Slowly it reached out a claw and touched the device. A small spark of energy jumped between them. The dragon hissed softly, almost a sound of surprise, then gently took the core. Liam exhaled, relief flooding him, but the danger was far from over. Dragons were unpredictable. This one might leave him alone, or it might call its kind. And if it did, Liam could not hide behind scraps or tricks. He realized that surviving here meant more than skill. It meant courage, quick thinking, and willingness to risk everything for even a small chance of success. The dragon stepped back, wings quivering. It stared at him for a long moment, then spoke again, voice rough but curious. Name? Liam hesitated. Most humans would run from the chance of speaking to a dragon. But he kept his ground. Liam. My name is Liam Calder. The dragon lowered its head slightly, almost as if acknowledging him. Then it spread its wings, lifting slightly off the ground and landed a few steps away. Its gaze never left him. Liam could see scars on its wings, old and new, signs of battles fought and pain endured. It was clear the creature was not just strong, it was smart, resilient, and desperate. Liam felt a surge of determination. This was no ordinary encounter. He had a choice: turn and flee to safety or stay and face the unknown. Fear tugged at his mind, but courage won. He would not leave this creature to suffer. If he could help even a little, he would try. A sudden roar echoed from the far side of the city. Liam turned his head and saw shadows moving in the ruins. Other dragons, perhaps alerted by the first one, were circling in the distance. The glow from the setting sun cast long, threatening shadows across the streets. Liam's pulse quickened. He had helped one dragon, but now he faced a new challenge, surviving the attention it might bring. The first dragon stepped closer again, nudging him with its snout, a gesture that was both gentle and commanding. Liam realized that this was only the beginning. The wasteland was dangerous. Scavengers, rival humans, and dragons themselves could attack at any moment. But he also realized that courage was contagious. If he acted wisely, he could not only survive, he could change the rules of this harsh world. Liam looked at the dragon, a strange bond forming between them. He felt fear, yes, but also hope. Hope that even in a world abandoned and broken, humans could rise, fight, and protect what mattered. And in that instant, Liam knew that his life and the life of this dragon were now intertwined. Whatever came next, he would face it head-on. A low growl sounded from the shadows, followed by the echo of wings in the distance. Liam's heart thumped. He tightened his grip on his tools and stepped back, ready. The dragon beside him flexed its wings, energy core glowing faintly against its chest. Together they waited. And then the first shadow moved closer, larger and faster than anything Liam had ever faced. The shadow moved quickly through the ruins. Liam's pulse raced. It wasn't just one dragon. There were at least 3, their eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Brass, the dragon he had helped, stepped protectively in front of him, wings half spread, muscles taut. Liam could see the scars on its body, proof of battles survived. But he also saw intelligence. He wasn't dealing with mindless beasts. Liam's mind worked fast. There was no time to hide. The ruins were open, but scattered piles of scrap and broken vehicles could be used as cover. He grabbed his toolkit and a few sharp metal rods, planning to defend himself if necessary. Survival here had never been about brute strength alone. It required courage, cleverness, and timing. The first dragon lunged, moving like liquid fire, claws scraping against the concrete. Brass hissed sharply and released a small burst of energy from the core Liam had given him. Sparks flew, illuminating the alley in flickers of light. The attacking dragon faltered, its eyes narrowing in surprise. Liam seized the moment. He kicked a loose metal plate, sending it clanging toward another approaching dragon. The sound startled it, causing it to swerve, buying him precious seconds. The third dragon circled above, wings beating in the dusty air, eyes scanning. Liam ducked behind a stack of scrap, heart hammering, adrenaline surging. He could not run, not with Brass counting on him and no way to know how far the attackers would follow. He needed a plan. Liam's eyes fell on an old, half-collapsed communications tower. It might hold weak structural points he could use. If he could trigger a collapse, the dragons might be forced to retreat, or at least scatter. It was risky. The tower could crush him as easily as the dragons. But risk was part of survival here. Courage alone would not save him. He needed intelligence and timing. He whispered to Brass, who seemed to understand. The dragon flexed its wings and edged closer to Liam, ready to defend. Liam crawled through the debris, placing a few metal rods as supports and jamming some loose wires into the tower's base. Then he struck a spark with his toolkit, sending a small electrical pulse into the setup. The rods vibrated. Dust fell from the beams. The tower groaned, threatening to collapse. The attacking dragons paused, instinctively wary of the shifting structure. Liam saw his chance. He jumped out of cover, waving his arms to distract them while Brass unleashed a roar that shook the walls. Sparks flew from the energy core, hitting one of the dragons in the chest. It yelped, stepping back. The combined effect worked. The attacking dragons retreated a few steps, confused and cautious. But Liam knew this was temporary. More could come, drawn by noise and movement. He needed a safe place and a plan to survive long-term. He motioned for Brass to follow and ran toward a narrow alley between 2 collapsed buildings. The space was tight. Only a creature with wings as large as Brass's could barely navigate it. But humans could move faster. Liam pushed Brass carefully, urging him through the alley, until they reached a small underground tunnel partially hidden beneath rubble. Inside, Liam slumped against a wall, chest heaving. Brass lay beside him, wings trembling, not from fear but exhaustion. Liam patted the dragon's neck. "You're stronger than I thought," he said quietly. "And smarter too." For a moment, silence fell. Only the wind whistled through cracks in the walls. Liam could feel the weight of what had just happened. The danger, the fight, the risk. He realized that survival was not just about escaping threats but understanding them, outsmarting them, and earning the trust of creatures far stronger than himself. But the night was far from over. From deep within the tunnel, Liam heard the faint echo of clawed feet and distant roars. More dragons were out there, possibly following their kin. And worse, humans in Orleans 7 were not always friendly. Some scavengers would see Brass as a weapon to be captured, and Liam as a threat, or a target. Liam's hands shook slightly as he checked his toolkit. He needed more than courage now. He needed preparation, strategy, and allies. If he failed, both he and Brass could die here, trapped between the dangers above ground and the enemies hiding in shadows. He looked at Brass, whose glowing eyes met his. There was an unspoken understanding. They were partners now, bound by necessity, trust, and shared survival. Brass nudged him gently with its snout, a gesture that felt like reassurance. Liam smiled briefly despite the fear. Together they might survive. Alone neither would last long. Liam thought of the energy core again. It had healed Brass's wings, given him strength, and bought them time. But what if he could create more devices, more tools, to even the odds further? His mind raced with possibilities: improvised traps, defensive drones, and ways to outmaneuver dragons larger and stronger than any human should be able to face. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from above the tunnel entrance. Liam froze. Dust fell from the ceiling. Shadows flickered against the walls. Something, or someone, was approaching. The moment of calm had ended. Brass growled low, wings spreading slightly in warning. Liam gripped a metal rod, ready to fight but also ready to think fast. Whatever emerged, they would face it together. Courage alone had kept them alive so far. Intelligence, cleverness, and bold action would have to carry them through the next test. And from the shadows, the first figure appeared, taller than any human Liam had seen, moving with strange precision, eyes glowing faintly in the gloom. It stopped at the tunnel entrance and studied them. Liam's heart pounded. He could not run. He could not hide. He had only one choice: stand, act, and survive. The night had just begun, and the wasteland had many trials left. The figure at the tunnel entrance stepped forward. Liam squinted through the dust and gloom. It was a human, taller than most, wearing patched armor made from scavenged metal. A faint, glowing emblem on their chest caught the light. The stranger's eyes scanned Liam and Brass, calculating. Liam's grip tightened on his metal rod. He had no choice but to stand his ground. "I'm not here to fight," the stranger said, voice calm but firm. "But I need that dragon." Liam's heart skipped. "Why?" he asked. "Brass isn't yours to take." The stranger's eyes flicked to Brass, who hissed low, wings flexing in warning. "It's not just about the dragon. There are dangers you don't understand. Other dragons, stronger and smarter than this one. They are organizing. If humans and dragons aren't prepared, this city will be destroyed." Liam's mind raced. Danger was already everywhere, but this stranger was hinting at something bigger. A threat he couldn't yet see. "And you think I should just hand Brass over?" Liam asked. "I saved him. I healed him. He trusts me." The stranger shook their head. "You don't have time to understand. You need to learn. If you survive the next attacks, I can show you how humans can fight alongside dragons, how courage and intelligence can turn the impossible into survival." Liam hesitated. Could he trust a stranger? Survival had taught him to be cautious, but he also understood one thing: humans alone were vulnerable. If he wanted to protect Brass, he would need more than courage. He would need knowledge. "I'll listen," Liam said finally. "But I'm not giving up Brass." The stranger nodded, a faint smile on their face. "Good. Follow me. There's something you need to see." They moved carefully through the tunnel, Liam keeping one hand on Brass's flank. The dragon followed, wings tucked low but alert. The tunnel opened into a cavernous chamber beneath the city. Broken machinery, pipes, and glowing remnants of old technology littered the floor. Liam could feel the energy in the air. It hummed like a quiet storm. "This," the stranger said, gesturing to a pile of equipment, "is what humans have been hiding. Devices that can heal, protect, and even enhance dragons. Energy cores, biometal compounds, and regeneration stimulators. You can use them to give dragons strength, but only if you understand how." Liam stepped closer, eyes wide. He picked up a glowing vial, feeling the warmth of the energy inside. Brass sniffed it curiously, wings twitching. "So, all this can help him?" Liam asked. "Yes," the stranger said. "But there's more. You can't just give it blindly. Dragons react differently. Some resist. Some attack. You need to think, observe, and act. You need to use your courage and your mind together." Liam nodded slowly, understanding the challenge. Courage had kept him alive so far, but intelligence and strategy would be what saved them in the long run. He looked at Brass, who watched him with sharp, golden eyes. The bond between them had grown, and Liam realized that the dragon was counting on him, not just for survival but for guidance. The stranger led him to a corner of the chamber, where a map of the city was projected in faint holographic light. Symbols marked the locations of dragon nests, scavenger hideouts, and dangerous zones where toxic storms were strongest. "This is what you're up against," the stranger said. "Dragons are not mindless beasts. They are planning, hunting, defending. If you want to survive and protect Brass, you must outthink them. You must be faster, smarter, and braver than anyone expects. Liam studied the map, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. The city that had seemed impossible to survive was now a puzzle he could solve. He realized that his courage alone would not be enough. He needed preparation, creativity, and the ability to predict his enemy's moves. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the chamber. Liam and the stranger froze. Dust fell from the ceiling. Brass hissed, wings flexing. The rumble grew louder. Something massive was moving above them. Dragons, coordinated and hungry. Liam's stomach tightened. This was the test he had feared, the moment where courage, intelligence, and quick thinking would collide. The stranger placed a hand on Liam's shoulder. "You are ready," they said. "Use what you've learned. Protect your dragon. Outsmart them. Show them what humans are capable of." Liam swallowed hard. He looked at Brass, whose gaze met his with unspoken trust. The dragon had survived because of him once. Now it would survive again, but only if Liam could apply everything he had learned, act decisively, and stand firm against impossible odds. The rumble above grew louder still. Shadows moved along the walls of the chamber as the first of the approaching dragons broke into view. Liam gripped the metal rod, took a deep breath, and positioned himself beside Brass. He was no longer just a mechanic trying to survive, he was a strategist, a protector, and a fighter. Courage alone had kept him alive so far. Intelligence and preparation would now determine if he and Brass would survive the coming storm. And above them, the dragons were closing in, their wings beating the air, their eyes glowing with hunger and intent. The real challenge had just begun. Liam tightened his jaw, feeling the weight of responsibility and the surge of determination. Survival was no longer enough. He would fight, he would outthink, and he would protect Brass, no matter the danger. And as the first dragon lunged toward the chamber entrance, Liam made his choice. He would not run. He would face them. The roar of wings shook the chamber as the first dragon smashed through the tunnel entrance. Liam braced himself, gripping the metal rod tightly. Brass growled, a low, vibrating sound that echoed against the walls. The dragon above was huge, scales blackened with old scars, eyes sharp and cruel. Liam's heart hammered, but he refused to back down. Fear was natural, but courage would guide him. The stranger's words echoed in his mind, "Outthink them. Protect your dragon. Show them what humans are capable of." Liam scanned the chamber. Pipes hung from the ceiling, crates littered the floor, and sparks from broken machinery glimmered faintly. He had a plan forming, quick, improvised but workable. He gestured to Brass. The dragon understood. Wings folded, it moved to the side, ready to strike at Liam's command. Liam picked up a loose metal plate, slotted it into the mechanism of a fallen drone, and triggered a makeshift trap. Sparks shot across the floor, creating a wall of fire between them and the first attacking dragon. The creature recoiled, confused and cautious. From the shadows, the other dragons circled, testing, waiting. Liam's mind raced. Courage alone would not win this fight. He needed to use the environment, manipulate the dragons, and force them into positions where strength was irrelevant. He grabbed a scrap of wiring and attached it to a nearby energy core. With a quick spark, he sent a pulse into the wires, creating a low, humming field. The dragon's eyes flickered. Energy disrupted their senses. Liam's pulse quickened. He had a temporary advantage, but it would not last. Brass lunged at the nearest dragon, teeth and claws flashing. Sparks from the energy core flashed across the room, hitting the dragon's chest. The creature yelped, stepping back. Liam rolled to the side, kicking debris at another dragon as it tried to flank him. Each action had purpose: distract, weaken, control. Survival required thinking faster than the dragons, moving smarter, and using courage as a tool, not just a shield. The chamber shook again as more dragons arrived, drawn by the commotion. Liam's mind worked frantically. He noticed a large, half-collapsed crane above. It could be toppled to create a barrier, but timing would be critical. One wrong move and it could crush him and Brass. He risked a glance at the stranger, who nodded slightly. It was now or never. Liam darted across the floor, dodging claws and wings, and attached a line of wiring to the crane's base. Sparks flew as he triggered it. Metal groaned, then fell with a crashing roar, creating a wall between them and half of the attacking dragons. Liam barely had time to duck. The chamber shook violently, dust filling the air, but Brass emerged unharmed, wings flexing. The dragons beyond the barrier hesitated. Liam seized the moment. He ran to another pile of scrap, picked up several glowing vials, the regeneration stimulators he had learned to make, and tossed them toward Brass. The dragon caught them instinctively, energy flowing into its wings and muscles. Brass flexed, wings stronger, claws sharper, ready for the next phase. Liam felt a rush of hope. The largest dragon, black and scarred, lunged toward them, ignoring the barriers. Liam ducked under its swing, rolling behind debris, then triggered another drone, sending a magnetic pulse that pulled nearby metal toward the attacking dragon. It shrieked as scrap clanged against its body, slowing it just enough for Brass to strike. The dragon faltered, caught off guard by the teamwork between human and dragon. Liam's chest burned from exertion, but his mind remained sharp. Every movement, every improvisation mattered. Courage had brought him this far, but strategy and intelligence now dictated survival. He guided Brass through the chamber, using debris, sparks, and traps to control the battlefield. Each dragon that lunged found themselves blocked, slowed, or misdirected. Liam's ingenuity multiplied their power. The final moment arrived when the largest dragon roared and prepared to strike from above. Liam grabbed a heavy piece of machinery, swinging it like a lever to unbalance the creature's landing. Brass surged forward, claws raking across the dragon's chest. Sparks flew, and the creature stumbled back, retreating toward the entrance. Liam pressed the advantage, sending another pulse from a jury-rigged device that disrupted its movements. One by one, the remaining dragons scattered. Some retreated through the tunnels, others flew into the sky, cautious now, wary of human cunning and the bond between Liam and Brass. The chamber fell silent, except for the hum of energy cores and the heavy breathing of Liam and Brass. Dust settled around them like a curtain on the battle they had survived. Liam sank to the floor, chest heaving, hands shaking. Brass nudged him gently, eyes bright and golden. For a moment, neither moved, both exhausted but alive. Liam realized that courage alone could not have won this fight. It had been courage combined with intelligence, strategy, and moral determination that turned impossible odds into survival. From the shadows, the stranger approached. "You did it," they said quietly. "You protected him. You outsmarted them. You've proven what humans can do when they refuse to back down, when they act with courage and wit." Liam wiped sweat and grime from his face. "It wasn't just me," he said. "Brass fought too. I think we learned from each other." The stranger nodded. "Exactly. Humans survive not because they are the strongest, but because they adapt, learn, and act when it matters most. You've done more than survive tonight. You've changed the rules." Liam looked at Brass, wings folded but alert, energy cores glowing softly along his body. The bond between them had grown stronger in battle. Together they had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. But Liam also knew the night was not over. Other dragons, scavengers, and dangers lurked in Orleans 7. The city was still a wasteland. Survival would require more courage, more strategy, and more daring. And Liam was ready. He rose, brushing debris from his clothes, and patted Brass on the neck. "Let's see what else this city has in store," he said. Brass flexed his wings and stepped beside him, a living reminder that humans, no matter how small, could rise against impossible odds, and triumph. The roar of distant wings echoed through the ruins, reminding Liam that the trials were far from over. But now he was not alone. Courage, intelligence, and trust had forged a bond that could face whatever came next. And somewhere deep in the shadows, the next challenge waited, larger and more dangerous than anything Liam had faced so far. The sun rose over Orleans 7 like fire against steel. Dust still hung in the air, clinging to the ruined streets and shattered buildings. Liam stepped out of the underground chamber with Brass by his side. The battle from the night before had left the city quieter, but the tension was still thick. Every shadow could hide danger, every sound could signal an attack. Yet Liam felt something different now, hope. Courage had carried him this far, but it was trust, intelligence, and determination that would carry him further. The city was awakening. Scavengers emerged cautiously from the ruins, watching Liam and Brass with curiosity and fear. Some had heard rumors, a human who had faced dragons and lived, who had stood beside a creature no one else dared approach. Others whispered that Liam had gained the favor of dragons, and that alone made him untouchable. Liam ignored the murmurs. He had more important work. He led Brass through the streets, toward areas where humans had been hiding for months. The dragon's massive form drew attention, but it also inspired awe. No one attacked. No one challenged. The bond between man and beast was a silent warning that humans could not be underestimated. They reached a small settlement tucked between collapsed towers. Humans emerged, eyes wide, some whispering, others staring in disbelief. Liam raised his hands, signaling calm. "I'm not here to fight," he said. "I'm here to help. But we have to act together if we want to survive." The humans hesitated, but the sight of Brass, wings glinting in the morning sun, was enough to shift fear into wonder. Liam began showing them the energy cores and regeneration devices he had learned to make. He explained how dragons were intelligent, strategic, and capable of trust, but they required careful treatment, courage, and planning. Hours passed as humans and dragons alike observed, experimented, and learned. Liam taught them simple defenses, how to create distractions, and how to predict dragon behavior. Brass moved among them, cautious but willing to accept guidance. Slowly, walls of fear crumbled. Humans who had survived only by hiding began to see themselves as protectors, strategists, and partners. But the moment of triumph was tested when a distant roar echoed across the city. A group of larger dragons, drawn by the previous night's battle, approached. Liam's pulse quickened. The humans around him looked to him for guidance, unsure, fearful. This was the ultimate test. Could one human, aided by courage, intelligence, and alliances, inspire others to face impossible odds? Liam stood tall. He looked at Brass, then at the humans, then back at the horizon where the dragons approached. "We can do this," he said firmly. "We've learned. We're ready. Together we can survive, and we can protect what matters." Brass spread his wings wide, a signal that this was more than a fight for survival. Liam activated the energy cores he had scattered along the streets, creating temporary barriers and zones that would slow the attacking dragons. Humans moved in coordinated formations, using debris, drones, and simple tools to guide, distract, and protect. The battle was fierce but different from before. It was not one man alone against dragons, it was humans and dragons working together, using courage and intelligence to level the playing field. Liam directed, adjusted, and adapted in real time. Brass moved in tandem, striking with precision, protecting humans from harm. Each dragon that lunged was met with strategy, not chaos. When the last dragon retreated into the distance, the city fell silent again. Dust settled, broken machines creaked, but the humans and dragons were alive. Liam's chest heaved with exhaustion, but also with pride. He had not only survived, he had inspired, taught, and led. Humans could be courageous, clever, and heroic, even against creatures far stronger and smarter than themselves. The stranger from before appeared silently at the edge of the settlement. They watched Liam with approval. "You've done more than survive," they said. "You've changed this city. Humans and dragons can work together now. Courage, strategy, and morality have shifted the balance." Liam nodded, looking around at the humans repairing drones, helping dragons recover, and cautiously exploring their surroundings. "It's not about being stronger," he said softly. "It's about being brave, being smart, and protecting those who depend on you. That's what makes humans remarkable." Brass nudged Liam, wings folded but alert. Liam reached up and stroked the dragon's snout. "We did it," he whispered. "Together." The dragon blinked slowly, a gesture of trust and gratitude. The city was far from perfect. The ruins were still dangerous and threats would return. But Liam had proven something lasting. Humans could survive, lead, and protect against impossible odds. They could turn fear into action, isolation into partnership, and courage into triumph. As the sun climbed higher, the settlement began to bustle with cautious energy. Humans rebuilt, dragons healed, and Liam moved among them, guiding, teaching, and protecting. Orleans 7 was still a wasteland, but it had become a place of possibility, of hope, and of extraordinary courage. Liam looked toward the horizon, where distant clouds hid the path forward. He knew challenges remained, but he also knew humans could meet them. He had faced dragons, death, and despair, and survived. Not because he was the strongest, but because he refused to back down, thought faster, acted smarter, and protected those who could not protect themselves. And in that moment, standing beside Brass, Liam realized that courage, intelligence, and moral determination could change everything, even a ruined world. The wasteland stretched ahead, full of danger and uncertainty, but also opportunity. Liam took a deep breath, squared his shoulders, and stepped forward, ready to face whatever came next. For the first time in years, the city of Orleans 7 felt alive.